Hey everyone, this is a tour of the 2020 Lance 1172 truck camper. This is the rig that we took up to northern Canada, Alaska, and all the way to the Arctic Ocean over the summer of 2019. We made some modifications to it to suit our needs for that trip. So come on in, we'll show you around. Welcome back. This is the Lance 1172 from the inside. When you walk in the door, you notice right away that this is a 2-slide unit. So the first slide is back here with this sofa on it, and the second slide is over here where the dinette does. And what it does is it really makes this space big. So starting over here, when we come in the doorway, we've got some pantry space and storage space up here for pantry. Down here, we use this space for our shoes and our dog stuff. The couch itself is pretty comfortable. It's got little recliners here on both sides. Underneath it, it has a lot of storage space as well that we've utilized for fishing poles, some camera gear, and things like that. There's also a table that goes into this hole here and sets up, and it's like a small little table for when you're sitting here for drinks, snacks, things like that, maybe dinner. And we've loved having this big back window with the double shades. All the windows in this rig have the day shades here that are just kind of to help deflect some of the light. And then they also have the night shades here as well. The couch also folds into a bed, just like this. And it's actually really nice for taking a nap or if you have guests or someone else staying with you. Our model came with a magazine rack here, which is really handy. Down here we have some conveniently located electrical ports, both a auxiliary style that you would find in like a car or something like that, as well as USB and 120 outlets there. Over here at the dinette, we have the 2 bench seats, and this whole table can fold down and these cushions can come up and form a big bed. Underneath both of the benches are these huge drawers for lots of storage. We use this for a lot of our camera gear and for doing our work on the road. So as you can see, it goes very deep back in there. And this actually, on the very outside of these is where the storage cabinets from the exterior are. And we'll show you that to you later. There are some conveniently located outlets back here, which we've run extension cords from to give us more electrical outlets underneath here to run our computers, charge our cameras, things like that. We have 2 dogs traveling with us, and it has been really nice to have the extra floor space that the 2 slides provides. So we have one dog bed that kind of fit into this nook back here, and our other dog likes to climb under here and sleep under here. It makes a very nice little cozy cave for her. Across from the dinette, we have our kitchen. And while small, it does have this counter extension here. It has the insets to make the sink counter space as well. It is one full sink, which has been really nice to clean our big pans and things like that. We have a rack over here for our soaps and our supplements that we use daily, and this space over here to let dishes dry, which has been really nice. This is the only window in this rig that is not day-night shade. It has a pretty standard blind like this. Here is the range. It is a 3-unit range. We got the model that also had a full oven. When we're not cooking in the oven, we use it as storage space. We also have a microwave up here. Again, when we're not using it as a microwave, we use it to store some bigger items. The microwave does require AC power to run, but with our inverter, we are able to use this pretty much whenever we want to. As for cabinet space, we have one very large cabinet up here that is doubled right here, but in the back corner it is actually just one big space, so that's really good for your taller items or bigger things that wouldn't fit into either of these spaces. We use that area for things that are bigger and things that we might not use quite as often. Over here is where we chose to put our plates, bowls, and cups. And down here we have some more storage space. This is for our bigger cooking items, like our Instant Pot, which was a big thing for me. I had to be able to bring my Instant Pot. Coffee stuff, bigger pans and pots down there as well. We also have access to our water filtration system, which was one of our modifications. We installed this extra drinking faucet filter here on the counter so that we didn't have to worry about getting bottled water or anything like that. Down here below the oven, we have another drawer. This is where we've put our silverware. And back behind this and next to the oven is actually where our furnace lives. Over here in the doorway is our control panel for our Truma appliances. For this expedition, we had both the Truma Vario heat furnace and the Truma AquaGo on-demand water heater installed. The Vario heat is not available for aftermarket installation. We were testing that out for them on the Go North expedition, but the AquaGo on-demand water heater is something that we had previously in our fifth wheel and we had installed in this rig as well. And I can control both of those things from this control panel. I can also program the furnace to turn on at different times. I can offset it. We can diagnose different problems, things like that, all from one easy place. The cool thing about the Vario heat furnace is that it has a night mode, which is something that we loved, and we were able to control that from here as well. When we put it into night mode versus auto, it was very quiet and allowed us to sleep through the night. Over here we have a few more controls for the unit. Here is the slide out control for the rear slide. We also have some more lighting options for the exterior lights and interior, as well as a switch for the backup camera that can come on the unit. We also have our remote, which is something that we have snap locked to this area because otherwise it is just a free floating remote, and this controls the dinette slide as well as your jacks. Also down here in the doorway we have an extra storage compartment. This is typically where your lead acid battery bank would be installed if the unit came with lead acid batteries. We had ours swapped out for some lithium batteries for a whole different lithium setup. We use this space now as storage for our rubber boots because they were very big. Moving towards the middle of the rig now, this is the area that we chose to put our dog water bowl and dog food. There's also a couple other drawers in here that we've used for kitchen stuff. This area right here is where a TV could be mounted. They're kind of covered up here, but there are hookup areas right there and lots of outlets for hooking into the sound system and into the antenna, which is something that we did not use on our trip. We also have a bigger shelf area for some larger and wider items like coffee, vinegar, things like that. And down here are two magazine racks for any kind of magazines or books that you want to put in there. Across from that is our refrigerator, and this is a 3-way refrigerator from Norcold. It can do DC, it can do AC power, and it can do propane. It's worked out great for us. It has had plenty of space for all of our groceries, as well as freezer space for all of our Alaskan salmon. Across from the refrigerator is the bathroom. So this bathroom is a dry bath, meaning that it has a separate shower from the area where the toilet is and the vanity. It is rather large. Tom can stand in here just fine, and he is 6 foot tall with a couple inches of extra space. We use the shower as a storage area as well for a stand-up paddleboard and our dog food, as well as our life jackets, because there is a handy-dandy rack here that can serve for coats, things like that. The vanity is quite large and has lots of storage space under there, although it does share space with the water heater, so you don't get all of that space for storage. It's got a drawer and a medicine cabinet in here as well. Lots of space to put all of your toiletries. The toilet is a Dometic toilet. There is a fan right above that area, as well as a skylight above the shower, which both of those you can snap a cover over for dimming the light or for insulation. We've really liked having the dry bath over wet bath. We prefer showering in here versus, say, at a campground shower. It's been really nice because we do a lot of boondocking and we aren't in campgrounds a lot, so it's nice to have a shower that we're comfortable using and getting clean in. It's kind of tight, but considering you're in a truck camper, it's pretty nice. So up at the front of the truck camper is the bedroom. This area is up over the cab of the truck and it has lots of storage. It's got a closet that we've had plenty of room for our jackets and shorts and things like that. It has two cubbies up on either side of the bed that Tom and I both use for storage. We also utilize some storage sacks to help organize our clothes, which has been great. There's also a cabinet here that has a lot of storage in it, and up here. This unit does have a stereo up here located in the bedroom, and it has speakers throughout that you can control, as well as a speaker on the outside. During the night, there is a little bit of light, so we have just covered it here with a little calendar. Up here is also where we installed all of our routers and boosters. They have antennas that run out onto the roof. So this was a really nice location to be able to access the roof. There's also a storage area up above the closet that has some outlets and USB plugs that we have utilized. Getting used to the bedroom in the truck camper was probably one of the biggest things because it is a climb up and there's no way to walk around it. So making the bed is a bit of a cardio workout, but we have been pretty cozy up here. There is a reflective insulated pad underneath the mattress, but it does still get a little chilly up here when you're camping in the cold weathers, which we ran into on our northern trip. To help with this, we bought a heated blanket, which really does the trick, even just on low. If they can just heat it up a little bit before you crawl inside, it does wonderful. Up here, we also have this awesome skylight hatch, which can open up really all the way and let a lot of fresh air in. Tom even uses it occasionally to get out on the roof, so he doesn't have to bring in the backslide to climb up the ladder. It has a screen across it, so when you're in buggy areas like Alaska, northern Canada in the summertime, you can keep those pesky mosquitoes out. It also has a nighttime shade so that if you're camping up there in the midnight sun, you can actually get some sleep. The bedroom does have this divider here that can come across. We honestly didn't use that very much, but we did use it a couple of times to just help with camping in the midnight sun when there was still light all hours of the day and we just needed a little extra darkness up in this area. But for anybody else, it's just a nice barrier in case you have somebody else sleeping, say in the dinette or the sofa. We lived in this truck camper for 6 months and we had a lot of camera gear with us, taking up some space that might be used for larger grocery items like cereal boxes and things like that. So what we did is utilize some laundry baskets to put those extra items in. And during the daytime, we'd store them up on the bed because we typically aren't using that space during the day. At night, we'd move those baskets down to the sofa and the dinette, which we weren't going to be using overnight, and then next morning move them back. And that has worked out really well for us to just carry a few other things that didn't fit nicely into any of the cabinets or storage areas. There are quite a few things on the ceiling, including the Dometic air conditioner, which is controlled by a panel over here behind the coat rack. We also have speakers, a fire alarm, the king jack for the antenna for the TV, which we didn't use at all. Coming back here, we have more lights, and these lights are controlled by switches right on them. Same with this guy right here. We have this awesome skylight right here that has a shade built into it. And right here we have the fantastic fan that does have temperature control and variable speeds. Both the skylight and the Fantastic Fan also have snaps on them to cover them up if you need to for insulation or for light. In this area, we have our control panels. Up here is the Go Power solar control panel for our 200 watts of solar that came installed on our roof. We have our tank measurements here for our black, gray, and freshwater tanks. This unit has a 42-gallon freshwater tank and a 25-gallon black and gray tank. This unit can come with a generator built in, and the control for that is right here. We opted to not have a generator installed and instead put in a large lithium battery bank with an inverter to act as our power source. Well, that's pretty much everything inside the Lance 1172. Let's go outside with Tom and check out the exterior.
So now that Caitlin has shown you the inside of the Lance 1172 truck camper, let's take a look at the outside and some of the mechanicals. First, let's take a look at the truck. We have this on a 1-ton Ford F350 truck. While this truck is capable to carry this RV, we did make some suspension modifications to it, adding Hellwig bigwig airbags in the rear, Hellwig sway bars, and torque lift overload spring engaging devices to assist with the suspension, and it really helps and it drives great. The truck also has torque lift tie downs and fast gun turnbuckles that attach the camper to the truck. So on the side of the truck camper, the first thing that we have here is the Truma AquaGo unit. This is the on-demand Truma propane water heater that will supply unlimited hot water if we're hooked up, or even unlimited if we're on a tank, but we could run out of water if we just keep running it, as the RV has 42 gallons of fresh water capacity. There are exterior speakers mounted on the outside that we can control from the inside control unit. And right here is a little access for the water pump and winterization system. Next to that here, we also have the water fill. We bring a hose over, and stick it in there, turn it on, and that's how we fill up the freshwater tank. There is also an exterior electrical outlet, which we have actually found quite convenient in our travels. This model has two 30-pound propane cylinders. These are a little bit larger than you typically see in truck campers, which has been great because it's allowed us to go further on the propane. The propane runs the water heater, the furnace, and also the fridge if we set it in propane mode, which we typically do for traveling because it uses very, very little electricity. As Caitlin talked about before, we have the Truma VarioHeat furnace installed in this RV as a test case, and this is its exhaust and intake. Air goes in on the sides and exhaust comes out from here. Because this unit is so high efficiency, you will actually see condensation form right here, and it will drip, and you can kind of see some areas where it's run down the side of the RV here, which is great because it is so efficient. It burns so little propane compared to a traditional RV furnace. The door on the side of the camper here, pretty self-explanatory. It does have the RV lock, which is a wireless. We actually have a remote for it and also a keypad so we can lock and unlock it without a key at all. The handle here folds in and out, which is great for helping getting in and out. And we also can fold it back so it's out of the way if needed. And these stairs for the RV are the Torque Lift Revolution steps. These actually fold up and in and press in there. These are really solid when they are down on the ground, but they can be a bit of a trick when they get mud caked up in them. They can be a bit of a challenge to open. Truck campers require a way to take the camper on and off the truck, and there are 4 of these Happy Jack jacks around each corner of it that we control with that wireless remote to lift it off and put it onto the truck. This RV does have the rear slide, which pops out the back. That's something to consider when parking, or in the case of our bike rack that we have here, we had them originally on the Stinger hitch and this bike rack, but we opted to put them on the ladder so that we could gain more ground clearance by not running with the Stinger hitch up in Alaska. When opening the slide, that is something to consider if you have anything behind you or on a rack so that you don't hit it. I love how sturdy the ladder is on the back of this. It's a really heavy gauge, stronger than pretty much any other RV I've seen. We strapped the bikes to it and that worked great. We also have a directional cell boosting antenna that we occasionally put up to help pick up that cell service. You cannot climb this ladder when the slide is out, however, because you'd have to get over the awning topper. So I usually go up the hatch in the bedroom, or we have to put the slide in before we climb up. At the back of the RV, we have a couple compartments here. This compartment is the transfer switch and controls for the slide units. Also has a couple DC breakers in it. Not really used for storage, but used for maintenance and getting at the electrical system. This is the largest storage compartment in this RV. It has quite a bit of depth to it, and in here we keep things like our bike tires, our additional ground solar, our water filtration system, chairs, and our sewer hose in a 5-gallon bucket here. We also have our inverter installed in here that connects over to our lithium battery bank next door. This here is a sewer hose storage location. However, our hose has big fittings on the end and 90-degree elbows so that we cannot fit it in here. And we actually use this, as kind of gross as it is, to store dog poop because we don't really want it anywhere else. We keep our sewer hose in a 5-gallon bucket that goes in here. On the back driver's corner of the RV, the first compartment we have here can be a number of different things depending on how the RV is spec'd out. It is typically a generator compartment, and that's what this mesh is here for, to allow airflow into there. However, we have that blocked off because we utilize this space for 5 Battle-Born batteries, which is our primary storage and power source for the RV. We opted to primarily charge these off the alternators of the truck and around 1/0 cables and a big plug all the way to the front of the truck. You can see details of that in the Go North series. This is the water compartment. We have an outdoor shower here that we can pull out. We also have the dump valves, the black and gray tank, and also the tank drains are accessible here. We also opted to use this area for a flexible hose that we just store in here because there's quite a bit of storage in the back there and it doesn't impede anything and doesn't have to go anywhere else. This would normally be the battery hookup switch for the RV. However, because we did our own build here, we have a disconnect in here and this is no longer functional for this particular RV. In the back corner here under the slide, we have the power connection for the RV that we will plug into when we are connecting to shore power. We also have the black tank flush, which we can hook a hose up to and flush the black tank. And also the freshwater connection is here, which we hook up the hose when we're hooking up to city water. On the slide, there are 2 storage compartments that are underneath the benches in the dinette. You can access them when the slide is in or out. We typically use this for our electrical cords. We also use it for some leveling blocks, but we're currently using those, so they're not in here. There's another storage compartment here that houses our climbing gear and a hammock. And then up here is the exterior access to the fridge. If this slide ever failed for whatever reason, your batteries died, the motor burned out, there is a manual override that we can put a crank into, and we can crank this slide out in any situation. This RV does have an electric awning up at the top that we just press a single button and it extends. That awning does have lights in it, which is really nice for lighting the side of the RV at night. You can stop the awning partially out, which we do a lot when we're in some higher winds. It also does have wind sensors. If it bounces enough, it will automatically retract on its own. However, if it's windy or we don't have the awning out, there are exterior lights on this side, the back, and the other side. These lights can be both yellow or white, controlled with a switch inside, and they are very bright. We can really light the space up around this RV very nicely at night. On the roof of this RV, we do have 200 watts of solar panels up front. There is a roof rack up there, which we have some traction pads strapped to, also a shovel, just in case we get stuck. The air conditioner is up there, and then all the various skylights and vents are also located on the roof. We also installed cell boosting equipment, and we have antennas mounted to the roof and side of this RV to help us get the best cell service possible. Well, thanks for joining us on this tour of the Lance 1172 truck camper. If you're curious to see where we took this truck camper, be sure to check out our Go North series that follows the adventures of this truck camper all the way to the Arctic Ocean in the summer of 2019. If you're curious as to how these are built, check out episode 2, which follows the construction of this particular model all the way through the Lance factory. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.